it's Pete here and I'm back for a featured lesson, and today I wanted to talk about a few different coups. I wanted to talk about the Mortons fork, I wanted to talk about Merrimac coup, and I also wanted to talk about a Trump coup. So we'll just go through and look at how they actually work and what thought process is actually behind them. Alright, so I wanted to start off by talking about the Mortons fork, and we'll put ourselves in six diamonds, not 5 diamonds. 6 diamonds, we won't worry about bidding. And here, let's say that the opponents lead the king of clubs. So at this stage, if we look at this hand, we have no trump losers. We've got 2 heart losers that we have to deal with, but we might be able to trump the final round of that. And we've also got a spade loser. We've also got this ace of clubs for a discard here. So there's the general setup of the hand. And what a Morton's fork is, basically you're trying to give the opponent losing options. They have 2 choices. Either they can take a trick in the suit, which allows you to have more tricks, or they don't take their trick, which reduces the amount of tricks you get in that suit, but then they never get their trick. So basically you give them 2 undesirable options. Either they take their trick in that suit, which sets up more tricks in that specific suit for you, or they don't take their trick, which reduces their tricks in that suit, but they never get one. So 2 bad choices for them. So if we look at spades, and what we want to do on this hand is we just want to ruff the first one and draw trumps, staying in our hand. And now we lead a low spade. Now if West has the ace of spades, what can they do here? If they hop up with the ace of spades, they get that ace, but then we score our king and our queen separately. Okay, so our king and our queen separately, which would mean that we could win our queen of spades, we could then play the king of spades pitching a heart and the ace of clubs pitching a heart. So if West hops up with the ace of spades, what would happen is then they can return something. We'd get our ace of clubs, and we'd throw a heart away, we'd play a spade over to our queen, and we play another heart and over to the king. And our king of spades is a winner because they hopped up, and our heart losers go. So we'd get 2 spade tricks if West decided to actually want to take their winner. So let's backtrack now and see what happens if they don't take their ace of spades. Okay, so when we lead a low spade at this stage, what if West puts in a low one? Well, we put in our king, and assuming West has it, if East has the ace of spades, we're going down anyway. But the king of spades holds, and now we only get 1 spade trick, but we can play the ace of clubs and throw our spade away. And therefore West never gets their spade winner. So their choice when we led a low spade is take their spade ace, in which case giving us 2 spade tricks, or they can play low and they never get their ace. Now if the queen of spades goes, we've got these 2 heart losers, we give up a heart trick and we ruff the other one. So basically we gave them 2 bad options. And the actual name Morton's fork comes from a while back, where there was this ruler that decided that if people were saving lots of money and living frugally, then they have enough money to pay for more taxes. Whereas if they're living affluently and spending all their money, well then obviously they're rich and can afford to pay more taxes. So whether or not that you spent your money meant that you could actually still afford to pay more taxes. So basically the name Morton's fork comes from people having 2 really bad choices and neither of them working. So how does the Morton's fork work? So we give them 2 bad choices. Here they can take their ace, in which case it sets up 2 winners for us, or they can play low and they never get their spade. So that's the general idea. So the thinking behind the Morton's fork, what is it? So this is applicable in lots of different situations, but you want to think about what options your opponents have and give them awkward options. So just in normal playing of hands, what you want to think about is maybe if you take a finesse, you want to think, if it loses, what can the opponents do back to me? And you want to restrict their general options so that they can only do good things for you. And this is the basis behind end plays and lots of other things. So when you're playing a bridge hand, you want to think anytime you might, or like anytime you might let the opponents in, think what can they do back to me, or what are their options. And here, when we lead a spade, look at West's options. They can either take their ace, which sets up our queen and doesn't capture anything, or if they play low, we get to score our king of spades, and our ace of clubs will throw our spade away, and they never get one. So here, West has two bad options, and if you just think about always understanding what your opponent's options are and how they're going to approach the hand, then you'll get to be able to find plays like this, where you work out that they have no good options and you've restricted them. So if we go back and think about, what if we took the ace of clubs early? So if on the king of clubs, what would happen if we won the ace of clubs? Now we would have to make a discard, and we have to discard first and can't choose. So remember, on the way this hand worked, if West took the ace of spades, we wanted to use the ace of clubs to pitch a heart. If West doesn't take the ace of spades, we want the ace of clubs to pitch a spade. But here we don't know yet what they do, so if we foolishly take the ace of clubs now, we have to preemptively choose our discard, and we don't know what we want to discard. So here, holding back our choice of when we want to discard is a decent idea. And yeah, so it's a decent idea because you want to delay your choice of what to discard until you've got more information. So if you play the ace of clubs here, there's no way that you can do anything. If we pitch a heart and lead a spade up, the opponent just ducks and they get their spade trick anyway. If we throw our spade away, they just capture our queen of spades. So if we took our ace of clubs, there would be nothing we can do. So another important point on this hand is delaying when we take our ace of clubs to work out what discard we actually want. Anyway, that's the Mortons fork, basically thinking about the opponent's options, giving them two bad options where they either take their trick and set up more tricks for you in that suit, or they don't take their trick, reducing your tricks in that suit, but they never get their card. So yeah, that's the Mortons fork. So the next hand, I wanted to talk about the Merrimac Coup. So let's say that the opponents are in 3 no trumps, and your partner leads the Jack of hearts. So here, dummy's got really good clubs, and they've got an entry back for the ace of spades. So the Merrimac Coup is a coup that attacks the opponent's entries. So you want to try and reduce their entries. Now, as you can see, they've got this really good club suit, and after they knock out your ace of clubs, then they can get back with the ace of spades and run their clubs. So they'll get 5 club tricks, a spade trick, and if they have other cards, which looks like they've got the king, queen of hearts, then they've got 2 heart tricks, the ace of spades, 5 club tricks, and then all you have to do is work out they might have some other card. So let's actually open up all the cards so that you can see what can be done. So here, West has the queen, jack of spades, the king, queen of hearts, and the ace of diamonds. So what's going to happen is if we win the ace of hearts and return a heart, they win, and they play clubs, knock that out, and they'll get 5 club tricks, 2 hearts, a spade. And yeah. If we win and switch to diamonds, then we might be able to beat this contract because partner's got good enough diamonds, but if partner didn't have that 9 of diamonds, it would be a bit awkward. If we switch to a low spade, then they just win the queen of spades and knock out the clubs. So it looks like you want to play a diamond, but here that's not actually the best way because it relies on partner having good diamonds, which partner might not have. Declarer could have had the king of diamonds. I haven't given you the bidding or anything, but what we can do is we know that we can hold back the ace of clubs to prevent them actually being able to run that club suit. So I'll take it off seeing all the cards. Okay. So we know that we can hold up our ace of clubs so that we can wait until West is out of clubs so that West can't get back into it. So if we can knock out the entry to the east hand, then they won't be able to take all 5 of their club tricks. So what we want to do on this hand is win the ace of hearts and just come out the king of spades. Remember, if we play the low spade, they just win in the west hand. But here, if we play the king of spades, what are their choices? They can either take the ace of spades, which knocks out their entry, or they can play low, and if they play low, we play another spade, which knocks out their entry. So the Merrimac Coup is a way of attacking the opponent's entries and preventing them having this long running suit. So the thought process behind this is think about what entries the opponents have between the hands. And if there is one hand with a source of tricks, but you can stop them being able to get to that source of tricks, then you can knock out their entries and prevent them running that. So here, if they take this, then we duck a club, and we can duck another club, and now the dummy is completely dead. If we knew our partner had 2 clubs, we could have taken the second one, but at this stage they're in some trouble here and they don't have any more club tricks. They get their 2 hearts, they get 3 spades, they get 2 clubs, but they only get 1 diamond anyway, and dummy's dead and they can't actually do much about this. So here, coming out the king of spades attacks their entries and reduces them, like creates it so that they can't utilize all that source of tricks. The thinking behind this is dummy had a good source of tricks, they've got an outside entry, how do we attack our entries? Maybe I sacrifice my king just to knock out that card. So the idea of the name Merrimac Coup came from a battle between, it was a naval battle about 100 years ago or so, where they purposely sunk a ship to try and bottle up the opponents and force them in to not be able to get through this passage. So a Merrimac Coup is sacrificing an honor. So here we sacrificed our king of spades to bottle up the opponents and stop them being able to utilize all those good clubs by attacking their entries. So thought process behind the Merrimac Coup, there's a source of tricks, I want to attack their entries, maybe I can sacrifice my honor, so I lead a high card, they then have to use their entry preemptively before they can utilize their source of tricks. So that's the Merrimac Coup. Next one I wanted to talk about is a trump coup. So let's say that we are in 6 spades by south and the opponents lead the jack of hearts. Okay, so here we've got a heart loser, we've also got no other definite losers. We're missing the jack of spades, we're missing the queen of clubs. But let's say that the opponents take the ace of hearts and then just return a heart. Okay, so at this stage it looks like we're all good, but if East has 4 spades to the jack, we're actually going to go down here. There's nothing we can do. If West has 4 spades to the jack, maybe there's something we can do. So what we want to do is we just want to see if spades break 3-2, because if they are, we just claim. So king of spades and then another spade. And we put the ace up and the opponent's pitch. So now we know that West has 4 spades and it looks like we have a loser here. So we've got jack 4th spade, which is a bit of an issue. But what you can do is a trump coup. So what a trump coup is it's basically taking a trump finesse where the opponents, like, you make your trumps equal length to the other opponent. So here West still has 2 spades. They started with 4 and dummy's got 6. So to perform a trump coup, I need to ruff 2 clubs. So ruff twice in this north hand so that I've only got 2 trumps. Now if I've only got 2 trumps in the north hand and West has 2 trumps, if at the final 2 cards the lead is in the south hand and I lead a card, West can either ruff low, in which case I over ruff and the hand's high, or they ruff high and I over ruff. So to do this, it's basically taking a trump finesse where I'm leading something that's not a trump card and they're forced to ruff. Okay, so putting someone else on lead and leading where the player with the long trumps has to ruff, and then you get to pick up their trumps. So what we do is we lead a club towards the ace, and we ruff a club. And then we lead a diamond back to our hand, and then we ruff a club. Okay, so now that we're equal length in trumps, and all these we've got two good clubs here, what we can do is we can just lead a low diamond, and we win. And we've got these two winners, but we need to be in the south hand when we win. So we can just lead the king of clubs now, because our clubs are all good. If West ruffs, we over ruff. So West should pitch, and we should let go of our king of diamonds, or our king of hearts. And then we play another winner, and they can pitch again, and we pitch. And now I'll open it up so that you can see all the cards. Now notice that West just has two trumps, but the lead's in the south hand, and when we lead a diamond, they can ruff, and we get to pick up this trump suit. So this is a trump coup, and how this actually works is it's basically like taking a trump finesse. Imagine that I just had another trump here, which I could lead. I would have led low to the 10. So what I've done is I've made it so I have equal number of trumps to the person with the bad break. So when I had to ruff twice to equalize my trumps, so I had to play a club to the ace, ruff one, back to the hand, ruff one. Then I had to work out to be in the south hand when I played that final card. So I was playing winners. If West ever ruffed in, I'd over ruff and my hand was good. If they don't ruff, I just keep playing winners until I'm in the south hand, and then I play it, and they have to trump at this stage, in which case I over trump and get to draw their trumps. So the key point is about trump coups is thinking how many trumps do they have and making sure I equalize the trumps by how many times I need to ruff. So in this case I needed to ruff twice. And then the second thing is you need to be in the opposing hand or not in the hand with the trumps when the final trick is when you want to perform the coup. So here with two cards left, I wanted to be in the south hand so that I could lead anything. It didn't even need to be a winner, but lead something. They have to ruff, and at that stage you can then pick up the trumps by over ruffing and drawing the trumps. And this is a really powerful way of dealing with bad trump splits, so it's an important coup to understand. So what you need to do to perform this is count trumps, which is first, very important. Then work out what do you know about their shape. So we know that they've got 4 spades. So I need to be able to ruff to equalize trumps with them. And I don't want them to ever be able to ruff in. Notice that if they got to ruff a diamond or something like that, that would be bad for me. So I had to play as conservatively as possible, as safely as possible, which crossing in diamonds, the minimum amount of times was necessary, and then just playing my winners at them. Anyway, that was the trump coup. Hope that makes sense, and thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this talk about coups. We covered the Mortons fork, where you want to think about what options your opponents have and giving them only bad options. And the Mortons fork in particular is about they can either take a trick which sets up more winners for you, or they don't take the trick, in which case they never get a trick in that suit. And the key thing is thinking about what options your opponents have. Then we talked about the Merrimac coup, where dummy has a good side suit and we want to attack our entries, and we sacrifice an honor to knock out the entries. Key things about thinking about that is realizing what entries do the opponents have between their hands and how do we attack that? Do we want to prevent them getting to a certain hand? And then finally, the trump coup, thinking about bad breaks. What shape do they have? How do we make it so we have the same number of trumps as the person with the bad break? And then setting it up so that you're in the other hand when you play the final card to perform the coup. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.